We actually ran a bit of an experiment this year with lead gen versus a demand gen. Are you comfortable talking about that?
Yeah, of course. We had a pretty typical lead generation style marketing funnel, right? So we had paid ads on the front end, um, and we had an opt-in page. So people would be directed to an opt-in page where they would have the opportunity to give their contact information and watch a training, which was a breakdown of our growth protocol. And then they would get some emails. It wasn't particularly pushy, to be honest, but they would get some emails like after they opted in, they would get an email saying, showing them some case studies, examples, and trying to encourage them to get on a sales call. Basically, like that was the purpose of the follow up emails. And then they would get a giveaway if they booked a sales call and that kind of stuff. So it was effective, and this is the traditional way of generating leads and generating new business. That's the very sort of typical way of doing it. It was effective, so we generated a reasonable amount of leads. We had quite a lot of sales calls. We had probably maybe like a 70% show up rate for those calls, meaning 3 in 10 didn't show up for whatever reason, which actually is quite a good ratio. At the time, I thought that was really bad, but having spoken to a lot of people since then, for a lead gen funnel, that's actually quite good, but it just leads to a lot of wasted time. So that was where the process was before. And we'd been doing some demand gen type stuff, but we'd never really committed to it 100%. And so it was around February, March last year, we just decided to commit to that 100%. So we took out all of the opt-ins. We basically never asked anyone for anything. So we just gave them the free information. That video that was behind an opt-in, the growth protocol breakdown, we re-recorded it and just made it very simple. Like, here's the protocol, please take it and use it. If you want some help, you can have a call with us. And it was really amazing to see what happened, because we had less sales calls, but we generated more revenue. And so our sales close rate went from like 10 to 20% of booked calls, went to nearly 40 to 50% of booked calls. So we're closing like 4 out of every 10 calls that get booked typically. And people are closing deals, like the sales cycle is faster. We went from a 70%-ish show up rate to nearly 100% show up rate. So at the moment, our show up rate is something like 95%. Nearly everyone shows up for the call. So it's a dramatic difference. And we just noticed that the efficiency of our funnel was much, much higher. And it just created this great impression within the marketplace. And so since then, we've really leaned into it. And that's pretty much our process still today.